Perfect. Oh, it was mint in box before, Carlos. Now it's no longer mint in box.
Just depreciating the value.
Right? That's so
Wow.
cute. Oh my gosh.
That's amazing.
Carlos, where do you live so I can rob you, but like in a nice way?
Take a number. Take a number.
That's awesome. All right, Christy, do we want to get started, do you think?
Yeah, more people can come later if they want.
Yeah.
Let's
Hang
just
on.
do it.
I'm going to bring my table up to standing. Hang on.
Okay. Well, while you're doing that and being weird, we've
Being
got
weird,
lots
yeah.
of new faces. So welcome to our San Diego user group. I think there's people here from all over, and some from San Diego and some from not, but we welcome everybody.
Yeah.
I am Christy, and that's Tracy.
Hi, guys.
She's right under me. I don't know where she is on your
You're
screen.
below me. Yeah. Ah, there we go.
Yeah.
We're the user group leaders, and remember, we do this every third Thursday of the month, and we usually have like some fun thing to present and talk about, but today we're just doing Halloween. Woo!
So what better way to celebrate Halloween Salesforce style than go over all of like admin, developer, user horror stories that we have all experienced at one point. So
Yes.
it's hopefully going to be a very cathartic session. Hopefully, you'll dig down into that memory bank of those suppressed memories, share your experience, and then be able to come out the other side and laugh about it. But yes, it's going to be a great session with tons of things to give away. We have so many vouchers to give away. We intend to, you know, act like Oprah today and giving away cars, except we're giving away vouchers. So there will be prizes for best Salesforce themed costume, best costume in general, most engaged in the chat, best story, anything you can think of. We're probably going to give a voucher away for. So just get engaged, have fun, and we're going to be having a great time.
And by voucher, she means a certification voucher.
Certification voucher. I apologize. Thank you.
Yay, certifications. So, oh, were you going to say something?
Do you want to share what your costume is, you big old fangirl?
Oh, well, I wish that this platform allowed me to do a virtual background, but a couple years ago they did the Trailblazers rock band for Dreamforce. And so I'm just like a Trailblazers fangirl and have my lightning earrings. And it looks way cool. I put a picture in front of the Trailblazers band on Twitter earlier, which was way cooler than this, but it has kind of like
You
a
have
rock
your
band behind
Astros.
me, I guess. I
Yeah,
need
yeah.
a rock band Astro. That's what I am. I'm just a big fangirl, which I always am. So I don't know if it's really even a costume, but
Well, for mine and those who want to take a screenshot of Christy's face because she's about to unfriend me, I dug deep for when it comes to a Salesforce theme costume for Halloween. What am I most afraid of? It's a nested if.
oh my god.
If I had my sunglasses off, you'd see them rolling right now.
Wait,
I'm
can I
just
take
saying.
a screenshot of everyone rolling their eyes?
You should
Missed it
allow it to be recorded.
Approval request.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So, Christy, you've already signed the friendship agreement. You cannot void it at this time. I'm sorry, but you're stuck with me.
Okay.
Solid
I
as the
can deal.
Salesforce MSA, right?
There it is. That's right.
Oh my god. Well, before we kick off horror stories and goodness and stuff, we invited Jim Martin from Elements Cloud, who hosts the Org Confessions website, which is where we find all of our juicy horror stories. And so, Jim, do stuff.
Do stuff. Well, I'm in my org confessioner costume today, but I'm going to take it off because I can't see a thing.
That's allowed.
And we'll do a brief tour of what org confessions is and why we did it, and little bit about what we're getting out of it, and then maybe what you can get out of learning more about the confessions of others in their org. So I'll share the screen. And we are going to play a movie here, so I got to ask everyone to kind of stay on mute so we don't disrupt it.
A deadly threat is choking the life out of every Salesforce org. It's called uncontrolled agility. From the makers of Snakes on a Plane and Fields on an Object comes Org Confessions, the movie. This harrowing story is based on over 500 real-life events. The very existence of the ecosystem is under threat. We have the tools to fight back. Process mapping, org insights, documentation. Featuring classics like Confession 169, changing the prod login to kittiesarecute.my.salesforce.com. There is hope. It doesn't have to be this way. You can be an awesome admin. Elements.cloud gives you the superpowers to save the day. Get it at an org near you. Right now.
God, that was amazing.
Isn't that a fun one?
Oh, I die. Kitties are cute.
So I just want to take on a quick tour of what that means from an Elements point of view, why we did it, and give you 10 minutes of insight of what Elements can do to help you in your day-to-day work. Christy titled this, I Know What You Did, Your Last Deployment. I also kind of used the title, Do You Know Where Your Metadata Was Last Night? As another way to think of it. But let's harken back to that full confession that they highlighted in the movie. User did the My Domain trailhead in production, so our prod login was changed to Kitties Are Cute. It took a tech call escalated to Salesforce Tier 3 to undo that and get rid of it. And anybody's had that experience, so I feel for you. Another kind of common one is I deleted the custom field and blew up 40 reports, 3 dashboards in 2 weeks of my life, putting it all back together. So that's another fun one. I'll highlight a few of these as we go along. But when we did the org confession collections starting a few years ago, we did some analysis on it. We call it the root cause analysis. And what we found was a number of common themes that cut across all of these confessions. It can really be of value to people that want to understand where they need to improve their work with Salesforce. But they're pretty consistent across categories of analysis, architecture, documentation, DevOps mistakes, permissions mistakes, and lack of user training. We're up over 1,200 confessions now. And they're all anonymous. We don't really market org confessions anymore other than having the site available to contribute to. And but it does both give us and the community great insights into what the opportunities are for helping manage Salesforce as a platform better. So let me escape out and jump into the view that we take of Salesforce and the management cycle for Salesforce. If we start on the lower left, we're constantly analyzing feedback and managing a backlog of user requests. So everyone's experiencing, how do I, take care of these requests, deal with them, and move them forward in my cycle. And I need to analyze the request. Many people create user stories or work items, but one of the keys here in the purple highlighted items are where we think you gain value using elements. In looking at the metadata impacts of the work you have to do in meeting user requests, as well as assessing those work items for risk to the organization. And you want to do that as far forward in the process as possible to avoid going through the build deploy cycle and having to do the rework. But once you've done that work and rolled out successfully, then you also need to make sure that you're delivering just-in-time knowledge so that you can gain user acceptance of those features, make sure you're doing the right things. In the center of all of that, we focus on ensuring what we call business process excellence with documented processes. And that involves your stakeholders, your Salesforce owner, and the Elements tools to accomplish that. So let's talk a little bit more about that aspect. And it kind of comes under the theme. Anybody write that down? How many of you can remember what you did precisely to something 2 weeks ago in your org? You're not going to know unless you document it. A couple of confessions related to that. I spent 3 hours putting a change in production after weeks of designing and testing. By the end of the day, we had to turn the new process off again, as the whole sales team was up in arms about the fact that they hadn't been consulted on it. So we spent a whole bunch of time putting something in that they didn't want, or we didn't confirm that they wanted ahead of it. So that's what I call rework. I worked in a startup that had few processes, and the few they had were constantly changing. When trying to understand the processes so I can configure Salesforce appropriately, I was told that my questions were perceived as me being difficult and trying to create roadblocks. So anybody that, this is other side of this edge of the sword, is if you want to establish processes and have people understand what you're doing and how you're doing and how you're assessing these things, there are risks in the road to that as well. And we think having a tool to establish a common language of change and management in Salesforce helps neutralize some of those what I call organizational issues. So when we say process maps and things like that, we're not talking flowcharts from the way back world. You can make a wall of charts if you want, but we think there's an easier way. And we came up with what we call UPN, or Universal Process Notation. And the idea here is that I should be able to put a simple map on the screen, 8 or 10 boxes, draw lines across it, and describe how things happen. And we only have one shape. It's a box. It's called an activity box, and it describes an activity or an action that takes place. The lines going into that are the triggers for that activity. The lines coming out are the business outcomes. So I don't have to have anything to describe a decision. Something happens, I'm going to go one way or the other based on what happens. And I'll describe that with the text on the lines. So we can map virtually any process using this notation. The key is there's a level of detail implied. So at this first level, I have very generalized activities. The shaded corners in those boxes means I can drill down into more detail in each of those activities to describe it further. The paper clips mean I can attach, for instance, how-tos to those boxes to say, what does it mean to do this? or how do I do it, or I'm following the process, how do I do my job? So that's the idea behind UPN, and that's the core of Elements. Let's have a quick look at some of that in a little bit more detail. If I go to a demo map, a simple demo, maybe I have a lead to sale process that I'm documenting in my org. When I click on that, I have very simple boxes. I'm researching customers, presenting to them, delivering proposal, closing a sale, doing a win-loss review. Pretty common stuff. But here I can have a discussion with a business stakeholder at this level, and we're all going to agree on what these things mean. When I need to go down to another level, I can bring up another map, and we can start working on more detail and fleshing those things out. So when a change is needed or a new activity is required for Salesforce, we can have that conversation around the context of everything else that's happening with that stakeholder. So the real value is in having conversations and gaining common understanding around what this means, not just at the business level, but when we drive down to lower levels of detail, what it means technically in Salesforce. And we can actually get down to, in very granular levels. This is an example that we built for how you would manage a Salesforce environment. And it might describe how the business monitors and manages and drives change into the organization, as well as how you respond to the analysis, build, deploy, and operate stages in your systems. So we can go through at many levels of detail and describe what's going on and who's participating. These lines below here are the resources that are involved. And we can describe human activities, automated activities. You can get down into describing even flows in a more detailed way and use these process maps to give that kind of structure to what's going on in a flow, what decisions are being automated, what decisions have to remain human.
What percentage of horror stories are alleviated by using processes like this?
Well, I gave you a couple of examples or the keys. It's he said one thing, I understood another thing, and then we built it. And that's the most common situation we see is establishing a framework for business analysis to take place without one side talking past the other. And I see a lot of organizations where requests come in and they have there's a solution design in the request. And that's not always the best way to go about it either. Because if you can get your request process moving toward business formulated discussion, then the technical solution can come out of that in a more productive way. So the other step in that map I showed you initially is analyze that feedback, the requirements, and the stories for impact. This is probably where most customers start using Elements and gain the most value most quickly. Because as we let's go through a couple of confessions that are kind of related to that. I joined my company 1 year after they implemented Salesforce. Before me, they had 4 different consulting teams working on different pieces without any communication. So what's that person walking into? You can only imagine. But if there's a process for gathering and understanding requirements and the work that's going to be done as a result of those requirements, we're achieving that first layer of documentation in the organization. We have a place to put requirements as well as user stories. You may have another solution in your environment, but we can accommodate those as well. But the idea is you get this stuff written down up front and we have an understanding. And we break down the work to be done in a business requirement statement into elemental work items called stories. Salesforce DevOps, the new product coming out, they call it work items. Jira calls it issues. There's a number of ways to talk about it. It really comes down to the agile statements of, for instance, in this case, as a product manager, I want to be able to do something so that I can do something else. This is the user interface and elements. And a couple points to point out here is, as I'm looking at things in elements, I am looking at a detail right panel, and we'll see that pop up throughout the rest of the presentation as well. About to go live in 2 days. The client has said the org is greenfield. It is not. We've just discovered the changes we are making will break the org. So someone failed to do some analysis. And so how do we prevent this type of situation from happening? In Elements, we give you a full view of your org metadata structure in what we call the org tree. And it's available for any of the environments you have in your Salesforce environment. And in this case, we're looking at the org level. I see a summary on the right, how many Apex classes I have, triggers, dashboards, objects, etc. If I drill down a level, I'm looking at an object here, in this case called project. On the right, I see it has 124 custom fields, 8 buttons, 4 workflows, etc. Looking at another object. This one has 79 custom fields, 5-page layout, 6 record types. If I scroll down on the right of that screen, I'm going to see some more information about that object. I can see where, go ahead.
Sorry, we have a question. What is greenfield?
Oh, greenfield was like a new org. That was from a consultant who was told, hey, it's a brand new org. You just have to do these things. And I said, nope,
Yeah,
it's not.
I've heard the term greenfield or minefield.
Yeah. So on the right-hand panel, we actually look and gather statistics about the data and the objects in your org. And in this case, this custom object has a lot of red on it. Well, what that red means is of the 93 fields, 59 of them have a very low percentage utilization. So now I have to make a determination here. Is this actually a well-utilized object, or is there opportunities for cleanup and deprecation in there? Drilling down to the field level, I can do field by field analysis too. So if I was working on something related to this budget field, I can look at whether there's optimization required, if I plan to delete it. I can also look by scrolling down a little bit more. I can see where the dependencies are for that field. In this case, there's a formula field, 4-page layouts, a couple validation rules. Now that's the first level. That's a little bit more data than you get from the Salesforce where used, but the key is we go down multiple levels. So when we open up what we call a dependency tree for a field like that, we'll see the details at that first level, but we'll also see that custom field called currency calc branches out into additional dependencies. So now I have the gotchas mapped out, and I can see where things might need to be looked at more deeply. So when we're doing that type of analysis, we really are able to come back with more reliable work and designs for solutions. Here's an example. That right panel from Elements also appears in all your setup screens right inside Salesforce as well. Inherited an org where input validation for a single object was buried inside multiple Apex classes instead of using variant validation rules. There's some things we're not going to be able to fix right away. We could at least give you insight that Apex class was referring to stuff, but we're not going to fix the Apex for you. Sorry. Okay. Next area I call just-in-time knowledge. If we go back to our change cycle, we've now successfully analyzed and built and deployed our solutions. But we need to make sure that they are the right solutions in the organization and that everyone is happy with them. So how do we ensure that happens on a continuous basis? A customer asked me to configure their new Salesforce. It looked exactly like their old 13-year-old legacy system. Puzzled, I asked if they liked their old system. They said they loathed it. It was hard to use and didn't do what they wanted. So I asked, why do you want Salesforce to be built like that? They said it would make user adoption easier. Okay. The solo admin has developed the org for the last 8 years. They just left, but there's no documentation on any of the changes. So now the new team of 3 people is trying to work out what was done and why. So these things do happen.
I feel like
But-
all of these things have happened to me.
Okay. I'm halfway through a bottle of wine where I built while rebuilding a flow full of unexplained tech debt. Please use description fields on things. So, yeah, okay, we can all relate to that one. So how do I get that just-in-time information? So let's go take a tour. Here I am in an opportunity on an org, and I have the elements right panel. As I look at that, I see that summary information we saw before. I see information about and some history about how this object has been analyzed in the past. And of course, I can go start drilling in and seeing how it's used. But I have another tab here called documentation. And here is where we start attaching stuff. So I have some information. I have a flow map. I have a presentation deck. I have some how-tos. And even down below, I might have some business processes that I've linked to this particular object. So how do I attach that information in the object? I'm going to switch real quick to an opportunity object I have edit access to, and go in here. And here we have something attached. When I create that attachment, I can create it as a URL. For, in this case, I can refer to a Google Docs presentation. And then I can make it available. I can show it as user help in Lightning. I can not show it as user help and have it just documented here within the object. And then having done that, I can go look as an end user at some new things on the screen. So we use an extension in the browser, and we provide a help overlay. That help overlay is shown in what we call purple eye. And so these purple eyes show up at the object level and at the individual field help levels. So here I have those same documents you just saw attached, and I can open up, for instance, creating and sending a quote, opens up a slide deck, and I can, as a new user right here, just in time, learn how to create and send a quote. If I don't understand particulars about how a field's used, if I hover over it, I get the Salesforce help, which of course has a limited amount of text, but it's there. When I click, I can now see more detail, including, for instance, a document that lists the values in the stages that we have in our organization. I can even do a thumbs up, thumbs down and say whether I like that or not. So, the other thing I can do as a user from here is provide feedback to the organization. This is really valuable in things like UAT, where you do user testing and you're not quite sure if this is the right way, or they might have feedback on a better way. This leave feedback option opens a conversation, and we can now have feedback conversation at the element level on those screens, either at the field or the object level. And this feedback becomes visible to in the elements console, as well as right there for everyone else to see. So we've now closed the loop on the Salesforce ownership and management cycle. We do business process excellence, analyze requirements to ensure we're doing the right thing, minimizing risk to the organization up front, building, deploying, and supporting the organization with just-in-time knowledge and gathering feedback. So that's the nature of elements in a nutshell. Let's go back and wrap it up with the cutest, the funnest comment I've seen. User cannot access an opportunity. Ask them to send the URL of the record. They printed out the opportunity, scanned it, and sent it as an email. Bless their heart.
Bless their pretty, pretty, pretty hearts.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Oh, that's the kind of user who has their password on a Post-it underneath their keyboard,
Yeah,
right?
they had the passwords for the 3 people that sit next to them too. So I'll leave it at this and let everyone start sharing their own admin horror stories. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. That was awesome. That would help. I love the just-in-time documentation and how you can attach things to the objects and in the setup. I think
Yeah.
one of the dumbest things I found in my org was this field that was called true, and it was a formula field, and the formula was just true.
1 equals 1, yeah.
Would be, and it was implemented by a partner. Like, it would be really great to know why why that's there. It's so useless.
What did they do? They probably were trying to do power of 1, didn't completely understand it and put it on the screen, or what?
It was probably being called by
Maybe.
Apex somewhere. It's still
Yeah.
buried in your org.
Hey, Jim,
That's
just as a
silly.
follow-on, I've got about 10 of these books left. These were the original Org Confessions that we handed out at Dreamforce 2019. So there's only like 10 left in the whole world. If you want one, just email me at rob@elements.cloud, and they're available on a first-come, first-served basis.
Nice.
That it's a little black book. That is like the best thing.
That's awesome.
Little black book. It's got the original 500. We printed these out, and then we were going to do a new one for 2020, but of course 2020 didn't happen. So these are the only
2020
ones
was
that
its
were-
own, just no book needed kind of deal. We were all there for it. It was one big org confession.
Yes.
It was something.
I actually have a couple slides to get us started. Bring up those repressed memories if you guys aren't ready to share just yet. Go ahead and share my screen. There we go. I'll go into present mode.
I love that you're walking us through how to start the slideshow.
I
You're
like
such a
to talk it
trainer.
out, Christy. I like to talk it out. So we picked some of our favorites from Org Confessions, also from a group that was probably one of the first admin groups I joined when I started my admin journey, which probably is a reflection of something else. I should have joined, like Lightning Enablement or Process Automation Enablement. The first group I joined was Why Admins Drink. So anyway, got those from here. So
I'm a shadow founder.
found a checkbox under the section of the page layout called correspondence opt-outs. So true means the account doesn't receive the mailings, and false means that they do, but that isn't indicated anywhere in the label or API name for reporting or data pulls.
So helpful that it's backwards and not described anywhere.
Like, I know as admins we sometimes have to do backwards logic, but why?
But come on.
Trying to make a change to one field that gets sent through Process Builder. Come to find out there's one Process Builder, then each node invokes another Process Builder, a total of 8 on the opportunity object. Whew. Oh, one of the invocable process builders just updates the opportunity name. A little excessive to do a whole invocable process builder for one small update, but all right. But then the next node invokes the next process builder that has one node, which has no conditions. Just execute the actions. And the action is labeled nothing and literally does nothing. Been at this for 2 hours trying to document what it's all doing. Still haven't found where the one thing is that I need to update.
I feel like that process builder was probably made like when process builder was first introduced. They were just like playing with it, seeing what they could do, but then never removed it. I mean, I hope.
I hope.
That's
Or
great.
like they were like,
Uh,
hey, invocable
yeah.
processes are cool. Let's just do it, right?
It's more like did the trailhead for process builder on production.
Yeah, production.
Yes. How
So
many people have done that?
we had that happen. One of our people installed that Dream Home app in our production org. It started firing all sorts of triggers. It was like a really fun 30 minutes. Thankfully, it was really quick to get out, but
I feel like the lesson from that is if you do Trailhead on your work computer, do it in an incognito window.
yes, or just make sure you like actually log out of
Actually log
everything.
out of everything else. Because Trailhead can get you like that sometimes.
They can. It's true.
I once shared administrative duties with another person who couldn't be bothered to learn the first thing about how to administer Salesforce, merely taking the shortest path to get any task done. For example, instead of learning how folder sharing works, she made every user system admins so that they could see all the reports.
Oh my God.
This Zen moment, I love it so much and I want to do it myself. I put a stop to this by creating a validation rule to throw an error anytime she attempted to make someone a system admin. I made the error message something nonsensical like illegal action on system.create user error code, yada, yada, yada. This action is not permitted in the current application state. Then, when she kept asking me if I knew anything about it, I just played dumb.
This totally sounds like something you would do.
I
Actually, when
know.
I read it, when you put it on here, I was like, did Tracy write this one?
I have not done anything. I love it. I love it. I'm going to store it for if I ever need it.
It's a good April Fool's joke, right? For your fellow admins.
Oh, yes.
An April Fool's joke in July, you know,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
totally fine.
whenever needed.
Does anybody have any of their own horror stories to share? I mean, Tracy can keep reading. She put a
I
lot
got
of them in
so
here.
many. I was so excited
Okay,
by them.
the rules are, or confessions is anonymous, so you can't submit someone else's confession from the session. Okay.
This is a safe space. This is a safe
Yes.
space.
I think this was already in one of the org confessions, but we had a user to pass Apex tests, put in the J++ on every single line of the Apex class to just get by.
Oh,
I think that's more common than anybody will admit to.
hmm
you think?
Makes me really sad.
That's scary.
I don't even want to search Visual Studio Code to see how many instances there are. Just when I find them, we'll delete them and fix it the right way.
Gonna have to rewrite a lot of tests.
Oh my gosh. Let's hear. I've had one where um, another admin, I mean, we all, have the ability to log in as each other, right? But at least what I think is best practice between admins is, hey, we communicate to each other if I need to log in as you. I'm going to do something real quick. I need to test something real quick. It's just basic decency, I think, when you have such power. But this admin decided to make a couple changes in the test environment, wasn't paying attention to the version of the process builder that he was editing, which was a process builder I had last touched. And so he had deactivated it, built his edited mine, and then didn't know which version to reactivate. And so what he did is, and this was late at night, he logged in as me and just took a gamble and activated one of the versions and then just went, good night, and and left. And he did this, of course, in production. And all of a sudden, like it's like 7 in the evening. I'm on like my third glass of wine, and suddenly my phone is blowing up with errors out the wazoo. I'm like, oh Lord Jesus! Like trying to go and fix this, and then going into the audit trail and seeing exactly what had occurred. Like it made my blood boil to a level that it should not ever go to, but that did happen.
Come on, who's gonna share? Everyone has stories.
I have seen people.
My friend did it, not me. Or I heard this from somebody else.
I have seen people put the trailhead tracker in their production when they were pretty much planning to do that just on their developer org or something like that. So they all of a suddenly people start to say, they have like a 750 users, and it was a mess. It was a
My
mess.
goodness.
Yeah, that Trailhead tracker is an app that you can put in there to keep track of, your badges and things like that. Well, the person thought that she was on her developer. She was pretty much in production.
God.
Oh, bless it.
I feel like that must happen pretty often, like people working on trailheads at their desk and just putting stuff in production without even realizing it, breaking everything.
I'll make a confession about myself. So
Ooh.
we have one of our subsidiaries that we were working with, and we had just sold them. So we were kind of helping them get their Salesforce spun up, and their tax wasn't working. So reached out to the vendor. They said, "Oh, here we have this new package." Was still in beta, was still in testing, and I deployed it right in production. Um, and that broke all the tax stuff. We had to work with them. Took I think 2 weeks to get updates to that package and get it installed and back to a working state. So that was my bad.
Good job.
Hurts. That one hurts. I'll narc on myself. I was creating email templates. Something basic and quick, and it was for the logistics department. They send out these automated emails, and they wanted it automated when the opportunity goes to closed. Easy enough. That part was easy. My spell check abilities were not as easy, or my computers just used to be so belligerent that it didn't even flag it. The sentence was, we will ship this out ASAP. The emails that got sent said, we will ship this out ASAP. So that was my bad one.
That's a good one.
Whoops.
How many replies did you get to that email?
Luckily, it only went to about 10 customers, all of whom found it hilarious.
Oh, good.
Absolutely
Did
hilarious.
they send you poop emojis? Because that's what I would have done.
They sent very clever replies. We'll just say that.
Oh, amazing.
And I'm going to share my screen again because there are a couple of really just delightful ones that make me smile, and we're already on curse words, so I might as well.
Oh my god.
This one. My employer made a stupid decision a few months ago to replace half of the team working on the CRM technology team with a partner that is providing 100% offshore resources. The offshore team is so bad, even if I send them requirements with the correct spelling, they misspell everything. When I was at Dreamforce, they were supposed to add 2 fields, product count and subscription count, along with some automation. I came back from Dreamforce to see that fields have been misspelled and called something without the O. Because these 3
Amazing.
fields are referenced in Apex, they refused to fix the API name. So you're always going to have the API name of subscription.
Provides a good laugh every time you have to edit those fields.
But it's also when you're onboarding another admin or anything, you're like, oh, you can't find the name of that field. That's because it's called subscription.
I'm gonna have to make an enhancement recommendation to our product team that we add a profanity filter to our org tree so that we don't redisplay that stuff.
Are you sure that this was a partner, or maybe in your search you find adult movies company and they're trying to make a revival?
It's an alternate revenue stream for them.
Hey, with COVID, everybody has to be creative.
I'd like to share one if I could.
Yes.
I was working at an implementation partner, and I was the technical architect, lead architect at the time. And we had hired an offshore team. They were in Tijuana, so it wasn't too offshore. And it was great to go down there and have street tacos and hang out with them too. But we ended up bringing them up here to do some work, and we gave them very distinct instructions. One engineer was assigned to create a bunch of custom fields on the account object. So, and this fella, supposedly they were all certified and all of this fella went ahead and created a new account object. Not the first time that it happened, but then 100 custom fields and all that. And when we went to go review it, and this was a tight timeline, we're like, oh, so where are the fields? And then he showed us the object and all that. And it's okay. So lessons learned, we realized that we really need to validate, even with partners that we're hiring, to find out what their level is and use better documentation of how really what that structure is. So there was some baseline stuff there. But second, to fix it, and this was back in the Eclipse IDE, I was able just to take the metadata, copy and paste it right into the standard account object and fix the problem within a few minutes. But anyhow, I like sharing that story. It's a good one.
Thank goodness
It's
it
a
was a
good one.
quick fix, but as a
Right.
partner, don't you know, like
Yeah.
account is one of the 5
Yeah. Well,
basic objects.
so we were the partner and we were subcontracting this
Oh,
work. Yeah.
so
This also
oh,
allowed us the recognition that this partner wasn't quite where we needed them to be, and we actually helped them with training and things like that. I mean, they were good people, and it was a mistake, common mistake that I think there's been other admins that have created standard objects before, but anyhow.
Well, last year, I have to try to research to find out, because I'm pretty sure that I documented that it was a client in, I think, in Guatemala or Costa Rica, and we're doing DevOps, and they hit every single limit in there. I mean, it's like over 200 something record types, 1,700 reports, whatever in there, like the limits on the custom fields. It was just crazy. It was just crazy.
the number of record types hurts my heart alone.
I get annoyed when there's like 15 record types.
Right.
Like, whoa, you don't even need all this. Like, let's dial it back.
We shouldn't even go into double digits on record types. No, please no.
100% agree.
Yeah,
All right.
it was really bad.
That is, oof.
Just
I'm gonna
because you're
share-
able to do that many doesn't mean you should.
Doesn't mean you should.
But
Doesn't
the
mean you
last
should.
one worked so well. I just want to do another one.
I'm going to share one last one. When you review a feature that was built a year ago and wonder how someone could have designed such a poor experience and then immediately come up with a better solution, and then realize the person who built it originally was you.
That happens to me all the time.
I think we can safely say that to all of us. and
learned so
that just
much in
speaks
the
to
last
our
year.
growth,
Speaks to something.
I'm trying to put a good spin on it. Come on, Christy.
Oh my God.
All right, well, Christy, do you want to start handing out certification vouchers?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. We'll take a vote, but let us first, I think we should go best costume overall, non-Salesforce costume. And I feel like we know who this should be, but
Jesse wins
Batman.
that one, I think.
Batman.
Jesse.
That was a really fast vote, Christy.
Had my eye on you. It's just like the smoke that really does it for me, I think.
It's the commitment. I appreciate it. Like, you have got to be boiling hot in that, right? Yeah.
So Salesforce confession, right? This is a filter.
Yes.
Even better.
Even
So
better.
confess that after the meeting.
Amazing. Whatever, you still win.
You still- All right, best Salesforce inspired costume. And the host you can't give it to Christy just because she has stickers on her face. No,
You gotta go with Carlos.
I think Carlos.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Thank you.
All right. We have a couple others that we could give away things for best story, best interaction in chat. I think we have a lot of interaction in chat, but some of the ones that were making me giggle were Bryce's warning messages.
Yes.
Warning, government issued felony on this computer.
If you're winning things, email me and I'll send you your voucher. I'm putting my email in the chat.
Just for the record, ladies, if you guys give me a certification voucher, I like to donate that to whoever needs it because as a Salesforce MVP, I don't pay for them.
Awesome.
Word.
That is fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then is anybody scheduled to take a certification test between now and December? Anybody studying at the moment? Oh, Stefan?
Steven?
Oh, wait.
Oh, is it
Sorry.
Stefan or Steven?
Oh, shoot. Steven, you're right.
Yeah, hey, I'm studying for the platform app builder certification.
What days you
Nice.
test?
Hey, it's not scheduled yet.
Oh, perfect.
doing
You get a
some learning.
certification voucher, and then you have to tell us how you did.
Yeah,
I told you I'm
appreciate
Oprah
it.
today.
We have like what 9 or something to give away, so
Yeah.
you get a voucher and you get a voucher.
You get a voucher, and you get
Raise
a
your hand if
voucher.
you need one.
Yeah. Why don't you just email me if you want a certification voucher, and we got you covered.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say before everyone has to run off to their next meeting and stuff, if you are in San Diego or anywhere near San Diego, we're having a beach cleanup next month in conjunction with the nonprofit user group. So we would love to see you guys. Bring your family, bring your friends, and just help us give back, and also just have an in-person event because it would be nice to see people, for realsies. So that's on the community page. So just sign up for that. And if you aren't nearby, you can still participate from afar too. Just like go pick up trash at your local park or something on the same day, and we can count it as impact. Woo!
Woo! And so that's coming up on November 14th, correct, Christy?
Let me look at my calendar. I feel like it's the 12th. Nope, the 14th.
Yes.
No, the 7th. Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
location too,
The
Christy?
14th.
Hold on. Mission Beach.
More specifically?
We're meeting at the park that's like right across from Belmont Park.
Yeah.
And I will have a tent set up with Salesforce merchandise. You'll definitely be able to find me, and we will be giving out the trash bags and all of that good stuff.
And swag.
Yes.
Picking up swag if anybody wants these.
I want that.
Okay.
He's got a whole pile of them in there. Yeah.
Yeah. What else?
Carlos got the
ta-da.
hookup. Camera
cute.
thingy, privacy screen.
Camera slider.
Exactly.
Nice.
Say, don't we have some
And
phone
of
chargers at the
course, and
office?
of course,
grab
this
those.
goes to auction. Ta-da.
Oh, I thought Rob was the only one with the little black book. Carlos has some too.
Carlos is building a warehouse.
Carlos, you have some little black books too?
Man, so I have two. Come on, man. What you thought? I have one with what's autographed by Ian years ago.
Dang, an
Okay.
autographed copy. Boom.
The link to the beach cleanup is in the chat, just so everybody knows. It is November 14th.
So is that the Bonita Cove?
Thanks, Marco.
Park?
Oh, cute.
That's
Yes.
the one. Okay.
Cute sticker.
You got to sign up. You got to sign up for a demo to get one of those.
All right, yeah, you got that right.
A lot of Elements Cloud emails, I think, going through the chat. So pick one of them and you can start stalking them for cool stuff. But thanks everyone for coming. The recording will be up later, and hopefully we see you next month for the beach cleanup, and then again on the third Thursday for just another fun meetup.
Yep. Thank you guys for coming, and have a great Halloween, whatever you choose to do.
Thanks
Take
for
care,
hosting.
everybody.
Nice to meet everyone.
Bye.
Bye.